Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Aelea Christofferson, Democratic candidate for Congress, Oregon's 2nd District. Aelea, thank you so much for being here. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for inviting me.
So first tell us, let's give our viewers a chance to get to know you a little bit. You're the Democratic candidate for Congress going up against 8-term Congressman Greg Walden. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got into politics.
I've owned a business for 23 years. I'm the mother of 5. My husband and I got carried away with adoption, so we have 5 kids in a very close age range.
Good for you.
People have been telling me for many years I should run for office. My involvement in things that are important to me, my commitment to solving problems has always made them feel like I should run for office. But when you own a business and have 5 kids, it doesn't happen.
There's not a lot of free time.
That's right. So I found myself selling the business and my kids in their 20s. And I also became more and more disenchanted, as many people have been, about how little is happening in Washington. And I also was considering a candidate that in 1998 I voted for because he was very moderate, very interested in small businesses, very accessible. He worked with my husband on food issues, hunger issues in Oregon. And I had watched him, as he decided to become the head of the Republican campaign committee, move further and further to the right, become less and less accessible, and I decided that he didn't represent us anymore. I had worked for a decade ensuring that 350,000 people now have health insurance. He'd voted against it 54 times. And the closure of the government was really the final straw for me, because in a district where more than half of our land is owned by the federal government, we have a lot of federal employees and a lot of people who rely on the federal government for their livelihood, and that was sort of the crowning point of deciding he doesn't represent us.
That was the point where you said, I'm going to act.
Yes, that was the point at which I started telling a good friend of mine, Judy Stiegler, who was a state representative, who I've known for years at church, that I thought he had some issues that were going to be difficult for him in this election. And her reaction was, "So you're running against him?" My reaction was, "No, I'm just telling you that there's these things that he might be..."
Slow down there,
That's
yeah.
right. And it was less than a week before she had me meeting with top Democrats and having the party talk about that they wanted to have a viable candidate this time, and
here we are.
And here we are.
All right, very good. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll have much more with Ms. Christofferson in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Aelea Christofferson, Democratic candidate for Congress for Oregon's 2nd District. So, Aelea, something you've been talking about and focusing on is jobs. How would you like to, of course, you would like to get into office. How would you create jobs for Oregonians?
Jobs are the main issue in our district because we haven't seen the recovery the rest of the country has. We haven't really seen the recovery the rest of Oregon has. Unfortunately, there's so much emphasis on forest jobs, and it's a fantasy that we have big, healthy forests that produce thousands of jobs. Between automation and mismanagement of the forest, our forest jobs are not going to come back in the numbers and the quality of job that had been in the past. So we really need to concentrate on things like infrastructure. There are many parts of our district that can't expand what they're doing in manufacturing because they don't have the roads to be able to get the goods out to the market. Clean energy is vital in the 2nd District. We have geothermal areas, we have wind, and obviously water. Mm-hmm. These are the kinds of jobs that can't be outsourced to other countries. And then we really need to also concentrate on how we ensure that our education system is providing kids with options in the trades. We need to get the trade education back into the schools, mm-hmm. which is one area that is very much a federal area because that's who pays for trade education.
And now we're running short on time, but I definitely want to ask this question of you. If you can try and be as brief as possible, it's kind of a big question. How would you plan on unseating Congressman Walden? You know, he's an 8-term U.S. representative with a powerful position nationally. How have you approached this campaign in that regard?
What a lot of people don't know is this is not a heavily Republican district. This district is 40% Republican, 30% Democrat, and 30% non-affiliated. And the non-affiliateds, and I've made personal calls to more than 5,000 people, and I've knocked on hundreds of doors, and what you find of the non-affiliateds is that they want a moderate. They left the parties because they didn't want to go either as far right or as far left as the parties had gone. I'm a pretty moderate Democrat. You can't own a business for 23 years and not, especially on fiscal issues, become pretty moderate. And so I'm getting great acceptance in the non-affiliated areas. And non-affiliated and Democrats outnumber Republicans in this district. So I think that if people understand that this is not a situation where it's a solidly red district, and therefore they turn out to vote, then that gives my campaign a very good chance.
Very good. It was great to meet you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.